Saturn goes into Sagittarius on December 23rd at 11:35 a.m. Standard Time Eastern. So what does this mean? Saturn going into a new sign, that happens every 2.5 years. It spends 2.5 years in a sign. If you were born in very early 56 or in 1957, 1958, you are in your second Saturn return. If you were born in late 1985, 1986, and 1987, you are in your first Saturn return. Whenever Saturn, here's Saturn and Sag, goes back to the same place it was when you were born, that's called a return, and it is a time where you are going to, or meant to be, more serious about your life and looking at the next chapter in your life. So therefore, this will be more important on some level when it's personal to you, when you have a Saturn return. Yet still, if you were a Sag, obviously Saturn and Sag is going to impact the Sagittarians no matter what year you were born, on a very personal level. But because it takes 2.5 years, if you were born late, if you're a late Sagittarius, you got another couple years before it's going to impact you this year. But you want to listen for the major theme of how it's going to impact everybody, and then know if you're under a Saturn return or what's called a Saturn transit to your sun or opposite your sun, Gemini or square, Virgo, Pisces, then you'll feel it a little bit more. But this energy, the shift in energy will impact, it's the world event. And how do you interpret it? Every time Saturn goes into Sagittarius, there is a message from the universe to get serious about our beliefs. What do we believe? And it can bring to the forefront anything that is hypocritical religious, hypocritical in government, anywhere where hypocrisy is showing up in the world. Saturn will call the person to the plate and say, hey, no more. This is not good. Hypocrisy is not good. Saturn in Sagittarius also demands freedom. Where can we be free in life? And this is being supported by the fact that Uranus is in Aries, which is individuality and breaking free and having our individual rights. Everybody on the planet has the right to, this is what the world energy is saying. Everybody on the planet has the right to break free from the past restrictions. That's a Pluto thing going on, that society says it was supposed to be a certain way, and break free and follow their own path and develop their own personal soul growth to the best that they can be. Now, every time Saturn goes into Sagittarius, there is that essence of, hey, be serious. Hypocrisy is no longer an issue, that there could be more lawsuits in terms of what's right and what's just. And anywhere where you're stuck or someone's stuck in being self-righteous, if it's not for a just cause, then it may not work out the way the person wants it to, because of the factor that Saturn, it's a difficult energy. You really have to be in integrity. And Sagittarius is about an integrity. It is about the truth. It is about seeking the truth. So that's why the hypocrisy will come out. That's why anything where there's a spread of lies, that will come to the forefront. And that you can see that in the news, but also in your own personal life, whether it's in the office, whether it's in your community, where that which is where you have been lied to will come out. And obviously government, where the government has been lying to the people, because Saturn is about the old school. And of course we have the Pluto and Capricorn making shifts. So if the government, I don't care what government you're talking about, the body of government that creates the rules and creates the laws, if they have been lying to the people, that will come out. Now, when you want to interpret the chart for this Saturn ingress, this time, because everything I said is true for every time Saturn goes into Sagittarius, in terms of integrity, in terms of finding the truth, in terms of breaking down the borders. Sagittarius wants freedom, right? And Saturn says, let's be serious about our freedom. So breaking down the borders and having more freedom. And it might take 2.5 years before you really see it, but it will come to fruition. It will come to pass. This particular chart, when Saturn enters into Sagittarius, will give you even more clues what this Saturn in Sagittarius is about for now, for this era, for this generation. And what you will notice very powerfully is the fact that we have 5 planets in Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So it makes it very serious, very strong about looking at what we feel we need to do, we're supposed to do, and whether or not that is our truth. Just because society says it doesn't mean is it your personal truth. Just because society says you go to school, you get a degree, go to college, you get a job, is it truth for you? And all of the past, kind of like the traditions, are they still true? And what is your responsibility? So there's a lot of heaviness about responsibility. And what is my responsibility? And the undercurrent is saying your responsibility is to know yourself, to understand yourself in a deep, deep way, where you will break the boundaries for your own freedom and live into your own integrity to develop yourself. Now, what else is this chart is saying? One of the things that's highlighted very strongly is, well, there's several things, but Mercury is at 10 degrees of Capricorn, which is what's called the heliocentric node of Jupiter. What does that mean? It means Mercury, which is also out of bounds, by the way, for those of you who know that, is kind of like a wild card. There could be a lot of rumors, a lot of gossip, and that goes back into all where I've been lied to is going to be revealed. Where things have not been the truth, need to find the truth. Very important to find the truth and disseminate the truth and speak your mind. Now, speaking of heliocentric nodes, when you have the node of a planet on the planet in the chart, it brings that vibration. The moon happens to be at 23 degrees of Capricorn. Of course, the moon moves very, very quickly. But this is what's called the ingress chart, the moment that will give body to what this Saturn and Sag is all about. And the moon at 23 degrees of Capricorn is on the node of Saturn, meaning that there's this deep seriousness in the population across the globe, because the moon would represent the people, everyday people. How do we feel? And there can be a feeling of being burdened in life. What am I burdened with? Am I burdened with these responsibilities? Am I burdened with what I am committed to? It's very important to seek the truth of your commitment. Now, the other super major energy that's going on here is the fact that Saturn is square Neptune. So we have a Saturn-Neptune square that starts with the ingress. And then when we go, now Saturn's going to dip back into Scorpio for a few months in the summer. And then it comes back into Sagittarius on September 17th, which is a very important date, as because there's not only just Saturn goes back into Sagittarius, Mercury goes retrograde that day, and it's the same day that Jupiter is opposite Neptune. So, and that Saturn energy, when we go back to the initial ingress chart of Saturn squaring Neptune, this is one of the vibration, along with that second chart where Jupiter is opposite Neptune, is going to give an additional theme that is about connecting with your dreams and being very conscious of where your dreams have not manifested in life. So there is this very deep energy that is about listening to what is real and what is not real. One of the factors that you go back to is the conjunction of Saturn-Neptune. And that happened in 1989. So Saturn was conjunct Neptune in 1989, which also means if you were born in 1989, this Saturn in Sagittarius, you will feel this energy more profoundly. The Saturn conjunct Neptune is a time where there can be a disillusionment, a feeling of, I want the ideal, but how do I make it real? It can be a bluesy feeling. The higher purpose of Saturn conjunct Neptune is to be able to make the Neptune, which is your dreams, what is possible, real. When you are just in the dreams and not in the possibilities and have no Saturn plan to make it happen, that is when the disappointment can come in. So it's very important, no matter if you're an Aries, Taurus, whatever, to understand that there is a depth of knowing what your dreams are and then knowing what you need to do to make them happen. The Jupiter conjunct Neptune happened in 2009. And if you can think back to 2009, what were you dreaming of back then? And then in September 17th, when Saturn goes back into Sagittarius, Jupiter is exactly opposite Neptune again. And that is saying, hey, dream big, right? Don't let anybody take your dreams away from you. But Jupiter being in Virgo, saying that you will need to work for it. And if you don't work for it, it can just be a thought. It can just be an idea that never really comes to fruition, that never really comes to reality. So you want to be able to say, this is what is important for me. Now, individually, in Aries, Saturn goes into, for you, it's going to highlight what your truth is, what you want to create for yourself in your life, what you need to know. And if you feel deficient in education, or something that you haven't learned, the next 2.5 years, that will become very real for you, and you may decide to take a course, take a class, and learn something new, and to confront your own personal beliefs. might always believe this, and now what is it that I believe? And that Neptune energy is connect with your meditation. Very, very deep about connecting with your meditation and being able to put into action the daily things in your life that will support you, your habits. If you are a Taurus, then the Sagittarius energy is going through what's called your 8th house of other people's resources, credit cards, debt, taxes. Be very cautious about taking on too much debt over the next 2.5 years. Otherwise, you may regret it. If there may be a need to take on some debt, but do it with caution. Be clear about how much you want to owe others. The Neptune energy is in the house of friendships and groups. Are you connected with the right groups, or do they disappoint you? Do you have a strong foundation when you go home? And moving into when the opposition with Neptune in September time, do you enjoy life? Do you just think about what you're going to do someday, or do you actually do it? For Gemini, the Sagittarius energy is moving into your 7th house of other people. Do your partnerships, are they the right partnerships for you? You have 2.5 years to figure it out. This can be a time of testing a marriage, testing a serious relationship. If it's not right for you, you could decide we need to go our separate ways. If it's right for you, then you could, if you're dating and it's right for you, you could get more serious and make a strong commitment. The Neptune energy is in the career sector. Is it just dreams? Are you just dreaming about what's possible for your career? Do you put it into action? What does your partners think? Do they support you in what your dreams are? And do you have the skill to communicate to others what your dreams is? And do you have when the opposition from Virgo September 17th to Neptune happens, do you have the retreat in your home to be able to go back and chill and have that be settled for you? Cancer. Saturn is going into your house of routines, taking care of your health, all the daily work that needs to be done to support the bigger picture in life. You have 2.5 years. The next 2.5 years, you can get healthier. I really need to be, exercising 3 times a week, or doing this or doing that. Change my diet. You don't have to do it overnight. If you can, great. But you have 2.5 years of putting that into place. If you have not been taking care of your health, then something can come up for you. And the dream energy, the Neptune that's so significant with this particular Saturn ingress, is what you believe, what you think, this is also the house of travels. Where's your dream vacation? Maybe you have a dream home, by an ocean or something, wherever it could be. And is it just a dream, or can you find your inner inner resources with Jupiter starting in the house of your own inner resources, your money, but your talents? Do you have the talents to manifest your dreams? Do you feel connected with your beliefs? Whatever your spiritual beliefs are. It doesn't have to be religion, but what are your spiritual beliefs? Or do they just disappoint you? And when the opposition happens from Jupiter in Virgo to Neptune on September 17th, how does that relate to you in terms of being able to share with others what you think, communicate with others? And there's a learning energy here. Do you feel that you know what you want to know? Is there something else for you to educate yourself on, learn about? Leo. Sagittarius is a fire sign. You're a fire sign. It goes into your 5th house of romance, children, fun, your hobbies. It's time to get serious about what you love to do, what brings you joy, what lightens your heart up. And it can be that your old hobbies, they might not be that much fun anymore, and you're looking to have a new hobby. If you're dating, this is a very interesting placement for 2.5 years if you are single and dating, because it's not necessarily easy, but it's saying be serious about who you date, and that relationships, even dating relationships that aren't appropriate, they may not end the way you want them to. So take a good look and know deep in your own heart, right? Jupiter begins in your sign. This is your time to expand, feel good about yourself, but know yourself deeply. Feel good about the depth of your own heart, about what is most important for you. So whether it's dating who I want to date, whether it's the hobby that you want to take on, and to expand and get serious about your own talent and develop them. The Neptune square Saturn can be disappointment. This is in a sector of debt, taxes, credit, and Neptune there can be a funky position, but Neptune will be there for a long time. But this particular year with the square is saying if you have not been taking care of debt or handling debt or your credit cards in a responsible manner, then you could feel very restricted and frustrated about it. Also, it's also saying don't just jump the gun about taking out any old credit card. Really think about it, because it could come and bite you in the butt and with interest rates or repercussions that you didn't think about. So anything that has to do with credit or borrowing money, and also money that you owe other people, be really clear about that. When Jupiter goes into Virgo, opposite that Neptune in September 17th, then that is supporting you developing your talents again. But again, you don't want it just to be a pipe dream. You don't want to, if you're doing creative visualizations for more abundance, you want to put it into action. Jupiter and Virgo, there's a work element to Virgo. What do you need to do? What do you need to plan? What are all the little things daily, day to day, week to week to create that prosperity and abundance in your life? Virgo. Saturn in Sagittarius is in your 4th house of home. If you do not like where you live, you could find yourself moving in the next 2.5 years, or putting more effort or energy into the home, or maybe even family. Jupiter begins the year within your 12th house of spiritual retreat and connecting with your meditation, and to be able to understand yourself in a way of why you might be holding yourself back in life. By the 17th of September, when Jupiter will be opposite Neptune, Jupiter will be in your sign, which is a good thing. It's a time to embrace what you want, embrace what's important to you. But that Neptune energy can show where you might be disappointed in other people. So if you have not been really truthful to yourself about relationships, then there could be a relationship where you go, oh, that disappointed me. The other hand, it could just be that people that you know, people that you're in relationship with, not just necessarily romantic one-on-one partners, but it could be any type of partnership, any people that you know, they could disappear. Neptune is like, okay, I'm moving away. I don't have, or that you just, your schedules are in such a way that you don't spend that much time together anymore. So, but the dreams for you could be really expanding yourself and not having just pipe dreams about possibilities. If you are dating, if you are wanting a relationship, the Jupiter in Virgo will help you, but it is saying it could take some work to create that dream relationship real. And that the aspect will be, is it really what I want in the core part of my soul, core part of my being? Libra. Sagittarius and Saturn in Sagittarius goes into a sector of your chart that represents communication. This also is a part that shows up as things to learn that you can use every day. Like, how do I use this computer program? How do I use my phone? How do I use these new gadgets? So day-to-day stuff. It also can mean over the next 2.5 years that you might buy new computers, phones. I mean, that's pretty common these days, but being in your third house, there's more likelihood that you would be buying communication devices and even a vehicle. There is something about being truthful in your communication and being forthright in your communication. The Neptune energy is in the house of your daily routines. And so you could have, how this can manifest is you could have all these promises to yourself. It's like, yes, this week I'm going to exercise every week and then not do it. This month I'm going to get this done. I'm going to put out all this stuff on my schedule I want to do. And then, the time went by and I didn't do it. So that can be where your disappointment comes in with the Saturn-Neptune square. The year begins with Jupiter in your house of friendship, expanding your friendship, but by the time September 17th comes along and it's opposite Neptune, it goes into Virgo, which will help you understand where you can sabotage your own effort, whether it's through not communicating directly, wanting to be nice, not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings. It can help you that because the Saturn in Sagittarius is saying, you got 2.5 years to figure it out. But once you learn how to speak your own personal truth, you will feel free. Scorpio, Saturn in Sagittarius is going into your what's called your house of finances and your own resources. So this can be a welcome entrance because it's finally out of your sign, but now it's in a very personal side because it's saying it's really important for you to develop your own talents. And in developing your own talents, you'll develop prosperity and abundance in your life. Where it can come into conflict with the Saturn-Neptune square is in your developing your self-expression and your natural gifts, hobbies, talents. I wish I could just do what I love to do and make money at it. But is it real? I want to be a poet. I want to be a songwriter. I want to be whatever dream that you might have that has to do with artistic events. It's not about not doing it, but Saturn's saying you really have to work hard for it and make it more than just a pipe dream. Jupiter starts in the house of being known and seen in the world, which is really, really great. It's your time. The first half of the year, it's your time to let people know here I am. This is what I can do. And then by September 17th, when it moves into Virgo and it's opposite that Neptune, it's actually saying, because Jupiter in Virgo is get to work at your dream. With Neptune, get to work at your dreams, put the work into it. But your friends, somehow work your friends. It sounds funny, but work groups, organizations, connect with those people. And all of this will help expand your prosperity. If not following the instructions and messages from the universe, then you can really feel frustrated about your financial well-being. And Sagittarius, we come to you where Saturn is in your sign. And you might hear all this negative stuff about Saturn being in your sign, but it can be a really good thing because it makes you serious about being true to yourself. And how bad can that be? The only time that that's bad is when you're on a path in life and you're not being authentically true to what you want. And then it can be tough because if you married the wrong person, you can get divorced. If you went to school for the wrong reason, took the wrong major and got a degree in something because it was expected in your family and it's not you, then it's tough because you're stuck in with all this education and not doing what you want to do. So yes, it can be tough, but what's great about it is the other side, you have your freedom. So it's your time to find your freedom. It starts with Jupiter in the house of higher beliefs and education and expanding your knowledge. And the Neptune, the unclarity can come from home and family. So there can be some unclarity or where you want to live. Do I really want to live here? By September 17th, when Jupiter is opposite Neptune, then that time frame can be where you either have an epiphany of, oh, this is what I need to do for my life, or that Saturn square Neptune of, oh my gosh, what did I do? And does it mean that I have to really redo everything and feel disappointed about it? It's when Jupiter goes into Virgo, it's working your career and being out there in the world and being willing to do the work it takes to develop your dreams and be able to have freedom. You don't have to do it tomorrow's 2.5 years, but by the end of this 2.5 years, you can really embrace a fresh new life. Capricorn. Saturn in Sagittarius is in a sector of, is behind your sign. So it takes 2.5 years. And during this time, you could either stub your toe a lot of times or figure out why you do what you do, and when it's not in your best interest, and overcome it. The Saturn square Neptune that can be problematic this year has to do with communication and has to do with the little things that you know or don't know that help in your day-to-day existence. So say you're working a job and you got this job and you're supposed to know how to do a certain computer program and you're really not that sure or clear about it. Then this is a year where you could get stuck with feeling, kind of pulled out, in the spotlight. Is like, oh, you didn't know how to do this? So that could be unclear. You want to communicate very honestly over this and find a way to overcome anything where you feel that those little plugs, those little holes that you have, can be completed. Those little, I want to call them, somebody else might call them deficiencies. I'm deficient in this. I don't really know how to do that. It's just get it completed. When September 17th comes along, so the year begins with Jupiter in your 8th house, which can be a chance where other people can help you. This is other people's resources. They can know somebody that knows somebody that helps you get a job, or this also means that you could take out credit, make sure it's what you want to do. Just because somebody gives you credit doesn't necessarily mean you want to be obligated to the bill that comes in every month. But by September 17th, August 11th, Jupiter goes into Virgo, and September 17th, Jupiter's opposite Neptune. And Neptune, Jupiter is your dreams. Have your dreams. Don't let anybody take your dreams away from you, your goals, what you want to create. And that Jupiter-Neptune energy is really suggesting that there can be something in terms of more knowledge and more education, especially with Saturn in your 12th house, that piece of that. And Saturn in the 12th house is also developing your spiritual awareness and having time to go to retreats. If that is, your thing, if that's what you like to do, the next 2.5 years, it's not like you have to spend 2.5 years on a monastery or anything like that, but find some spiritual retreat where you can get in contact with your own personal truth and your own personal beliefs and overcome any cynicism. Because there can be times this year where there's a lot of cynicism that comes, and you want to find an empowering way of beliefs for you. Aquarius. Saturn goes into Sagittarius as your 11th house of friendships. And for the next 2.5 years, there can be some subtle switches in your friendships and the groups and organizations that you're connected with. And the Saturn-Neptune influence that we have for this particular, and also you want to be able to speak your truth with your friends. That's so important. And there may be something that comes up where you feel inhibited. Saturn can be inhibiting. I don't feel that I can really be myself with this group of people or this place. But over the next 2 years, it will bother you more and more if you feel that when you're with a certain person, you can't be yourself. You can't speak your truth. And it's not like everybody needs to know all your thoughts, of course, but just to a certain degree, at least some friends, it's like, yeah, I really feel right with them. And there may be a couple of people that just by the nature of time and the element of personal growth, you grow apart from each other. The year begins with Jupiter in Leo opposite your sign. That's a good thing, expanding your circle of friends. And the Saturn-Neptune energy that's so strong with this particular Saturn in Sagittarius, that comes with, Neptune is in your house of your own talent. Really believe in yourself. Really believe in your own talents. And you want to not just to think about the possibilities. Oh, I could, maybe this. When Jupiter goes into Virgo on August 11th and then is opposing Neptune on September 17th, it's saying to work. There's going to be some work needed, day-to-day little things. The minutia is not just the big principle, the minutia of the details that will help you, support you in the manifestation and developing your talents. And by the way, this is developing your resources, which develops your prosperity and develops your abundance, which can relate to finances. So being able to not only just think about, think that everything's going to be okay financially for me in my life, to put some time otherwise and figure it out. Virgo is about the details. What are the details that I need to do? Otherwise, what can happen is that with the Saturn-Neptune square, you just get really disappointed. And like, I thought if I got this job, I'd end up with this good paycheck, and it sucks. So you want to put the effort, the intellectual power into it, the details of being able to create your own talent and connect the dots in your own personal life to create a life of more abundance, and also the right friendships over the next 2.5 years. Pisces. Saturn in Sagittarius goes into what's called your solar 10th house, and that is being serious about how you want to be seen in the world. And Saturn in Sagittarius in that 10th, it's 2.5 years. You don't have to wake up on December 23rd and go, oh, I got to figure it all out. You know, what I'm going to do the rest of my life. You got some time here. It begins with Jupiter in Leo asking you to look at the daily life, your daily routines, and maybe have some help and support from other people to help you get things done wherever you might feel overwhelmed. You know, the apartment gets a mess, all the little things, you know, all the things that if you won the multi-million lottery, or, you know, just had this huge inheritance of money, you paid people to do it. All those little things in life that you would rather not do, but they need to get done in order to have life efficient. This is the first half of the year until Jupiter goes into Virgo, which is August 11th, that this can be a time where you can get more help or figure out a better way to get things done quicker. Now, the Saturn-Neptune, which can be problematic with this particular 2.5-year cycle, with disappointment in life for you, it can be disappointment in your career if you do not do the work necessary to make it happen. It's not just about the dreams. Neptune is in your sign in Pisces. So it's not just, you don't want to let anybody take your dreams away from you. When Jupiter goes into Virgo, which is good for you, it's opposite your sign, on September 17th, that is, dream big. Do not let anybody take your dreams away. But in Virgo, it says there's an element of work that will need to be put into place in order to have the ideal, the dream manifest. Where will it impact you? Your career. how you're seen in the world. And I want you to hear career not just as the job you do, because a lot of people just have a job to pay the bills, but they have something in their heart. They know that they want to contribute on the planet, that's important for them to do this lifetime. It could be a hobby. It could be helping. It could be connecting with a group, something you believe in. It doesn't matter. And it can be your career. That it's, if you do not do the necessary little things day to day, so you're not overwhelmed, what's the plan here? Saturn always wants the plan. Then the disappointment can come out in that way. It can come out in your life's work and your career. And therefore, it's so much easier to just listen to the messages. And even if it's a little bit difficult to get going to make it happen, you won't regret it in the long run, because when the Saturn goes through Sagittarius at the end of the 2.5 year time frame, you'll be able to take advantage of opportunities to move forward, to be seen more, for your work to be known more, and to really propel yourself into feeling good, really good about the life that you have and the talents that you've developed and the service that you give to the world.